but
Good
that's
morning,
okay.
good morning, and welcome to another edition of Monday Motivation with Bukola. I have a great guest for you today. She's joining us all the way from New Zealand. Can you imagine? And
Good
right
morning.
there, like 10:30 p.m. on Monday, and we are just waking up here. Zarelsie Zarelsie Van der Merwe, is that correct?
That is perfect. You are one of those people who say it absolutely perfectly. Thank you.
Oh, thank God. So she got the nickname the immigration mentor. She's going to be telling us about that. She migrated from South Africa to New Zealand in the year 2000. And now her goal is to help other immigrant families in their respective countries or whichever country they migrate to. So if you are planning to migrate from one country to another, or you are a new immigrant in a new country, or even an immigrant who has been living in a different country for a long time and you might be having some difficulties, Zarelsie is going to show us how to live successfully in your new country or in your prospective new country today. So thank you so much for joining us, Zarelsie. Thank you because it's late over there, but we didn't let you go to bed. So thank you so much for joining us this morning to educate us about immigration issues because immigration is one of the hot issues out there. People are always willing to move from one country to another or move from one place to another. So how to do this in a successful way and also a legal way because there are so many people who are migrating illegally. There are many people as
Yes.
a result of that who become victims of human trafficking or victims of domestic violence. And there are many who die in the Mediterranean Sea because they are trying to migrate in an illegal way. So
Yes.
we will really be glad for your useful tips on how to do this in a legal way and also be successful in their new homes. So thank you so
Yes.
much again for joining us on the show. So please, can you tell us who Zarelsie is for the
Sure. Yes, I will. Thank you, Bukola, for this opportunity. It's really a privilege to be here with you and to call you my friend all the way on the other side of the Pacific Ocean. And you're doing such a great job empowering and inspiring people all around the world. And I can't wait to watch everything every week about what you do. And about myself, I lived in South Africa for almost 40 years. And then I immigrated from there to New Zealand in the year 2002. And it took a long time for that immigration process. And it was quite difficult for us as a family to come from a third world country to a first world country. And I think that's what most people don't think about when they immigrant. When they immigrate, it's something that is very exciting for some people, scary sometimes, but they don't really know what to expect. It's something that none of them have ever been there. They've never done it before, so you can't expect people to know really what to get on the other side. And since I have immigrated to New Zealand, I have helped. First, I helped friends and family, and then I started helping because of referrals. I started helping people, and they paid me for my coaching. And I worked with a lot of people around the world. And today there's about 244 million immigrants in the world. That's a lot of people, and a lot of people that go through a lot of emotional turmoil and psychological turmoil as well, and that sometimes suffer a lot and don't reach their full potential in their new country to be really thriving citizens and successful citizens. And that is such a shame because every person on the face of the earth has such potential if they can be encouraged to grow and they can be safe in their environment so they can have their needs met and they can be encouraged to grow and learn and become successful citizens. So yeah, that's what I do. I help people who immigrate anywhere in the world, and I help them to find jobs because it is difficult for immigrants to find jobs. It is not the same as trying to find a job in your own country. It is quite different. And people just think that they can apply the same rules and the same ways to find a job in their new country. And it doesn't work like that. Unfortunately, it's very difficult. And they have trouble finding jobs. They get into trouble because they don't have money. They can't earn a living. Their self-worth and their self-confidence take a dive, and they feel that they're worthless. And sometimes people become depressed, and they continue living like that, and they believe that they're worthless and have no value. And that is so untrue. If they can find a job and they can reach their potential again, they can be such valuable people to their new country. So that is my aim. My aim is to inspire people and to guide them to really become thriving, successful citizens in their new country again.
Thank you so much. You mentioned great points, and that's a lot of people. 244 million immigrants around the world.
Yes.
And finding job really is one of the challenges of immigrants.
Yes.
And I do hear about immigrants where they say you can only get job in certain industry. What would you say when immigrants feel that the only industry where there is job for them in their new homes or new countries is only in the health field? So would you say that there are unlimited options to immigrants in terms of finding jobs, or it is true that only health fields can give immigrants jobs?
No, I don't think it's true. I think from my experience of working with thousands of people, the sky is the limit to what kind of jobs immigrants can get. And you think about a normal person in their own country, we all have transferable skills. In other words, we have skills that we learn throughout our lives, in our school, in our job, in our life at home, in our engagement with other people at university. Those things are called transferable skills. And those skills can be transferred from one job to another, such as relationship building. You don't just need relationship building if you're a bank manager or a teacher. You can also use it if you're an electrician or a laborer, and that skills, you can do any job if you can transfer that skill successfully from one job to another. And I have known many, many immigrants who have come from one country doing one kind of job, moved to a new country doing a completely different job, and being very, very successful at it. I'm one of them. I was a police officer in South Africa. And now I'm a coach. I help people all around the world. And it's because I have worked on my strengths, my own personal strengths. I have identified those strengths and I've turned them into talents. And through my work, I've worked with a lot of people who I have done exactly that with. I help them identify their strengths, identify their transferable skills. And then the sky is the limit for those people. They can do anything they like, not just in the health sector or not just as a laborer. You can do anything you like, really.
Wow, I really like that. You said that we all have transferable skills, but you also talked about relationship skills. So how can a person build his or her relationship skills to be able to project that person to get their desired job in their new countries?
I think you start with where you want to be. You have to go and have a look at where you want to go. It's like if you plan a holiday, you start with the idea of where you want to go for that holiday. If you want to go to France for a holiday, you're not going to start and plan a trip to Jamaica. And you have to know what you will need to get to France. It's the same with planning to do a certain job in a certain country. You have to go and have a look at what that job requires in that country. If that job requires relationship building, then you have to identify whether you have that relationship building skill. If you don't have that skill, then you have to go and research ways in which to build that skill. Skills are things that anyone can learn. And people are born with certain propensity to be better at certain skills and other skills. It's just the way that God made us. But we can learn certain things. If you don't have a skill, there's the internet. You can research on how to get that skill, and you can find ways in going to learn that skill. Relationship building, for instance, is about the interpersonal relationships between people. In other words, how you communicate with people, how you listen to people, how you can actually interact with people to bring their goals to fruition, to help them to reach their goals, how you contribute to their goals and their world. And that's relationship building, for instance, but that's just one transferable skills. If you want to know what kind of skills there are, have a look on LinkedIn. I think there's millions of skills listed on LinkedIn. But the only thing you have to do is have a look at the job descriptions of what you do in your new country, and then go and see if you do have those skills. If you don't, get them. It's the path to go.
Thanks. So if you don't have the skill, get them. And I'm hearing, do research, Google. So
Yes.
Our audience, I see some people here. Thank you for joining us. Use Google, right? Google is your friend.
Yes.
Google to find out what you need, what you require. And I understand that even you have written a book, or your book is going to be released sometime this month on how to help immigrants do this. So can you tell us a little bit more about what kind of information they can get from that book?
Certainly. The book will form part of a bigger program. So the book is basically one part of a massive program. And that program is called the Q Jumper Factor program. And it's called the Q Jumper Factor because it takes immigrants from the back of the job queue to the front of the job queue. Because if you think about immigrants as job seekers, they face obstacles and things that normal people in their local country don't face. Things like they don't have any local experience. They might not know a lot about the country or the jobs. That puts them a little bit back in that queue. And what this book and this program does is help them overcome those obstacles. And this is of a number of chapters that shows them how to put together a strategic CV for an immigrant themselves. So they don't have to pay anyone for it. They can do it themselves. It shows them how to create a very specific LinkedIn profile for an immigrant, which is different to a normal LinkedIn profile. And it shows them how to use their connections and their relationships to build relationships and connections in their new country, and with people and groups and connections in their new country. And if they do all of those things correctly, then they will have jobs coming to them. They won't have to chase jobs in your new country. And this is what immigrants don't understand. For instance, if someone comes knocking at your door this morning and you don't know that person and he asks for $50, you probably won't give him that $50, because you just don't know that person. But if a relative comes to your door and they ask for money, you'll probably give him that money. And the difference is trust. And immigrants are not always trusted. So the thing they have to overcome, and the first thing they have to do, is to gain trust with people in their new country. And this book and this program shows them all the ways to do this, to overcome that obstacle of the trust, so they can get to the front of the job queue. Now, the book is going to be released in September, in a couple of weeks' time, with the big program, which is the Q Jumper Factor program. It's an online program that these immigrants can follow online. There's a lot of videos, there's templates, how to create a CV, how to create a LinkedIn profile, how to build your networks, what strategies are the best ones to use for immigrant job finding, how to use motivation, how to use your attitude to keep going when it gets tough, because it's really tough, and how to overcome those obstacles. And then, before that launch, I'm going to do a free webinar, which is all about the steps you have to follow as an immigrant job seeker. So If you want to know about all of this, the book launch, the Q Jumper Factor program, the webinar, and also a free video series about the mistakes that people make as immigrant job seekers, you have to go to qjumperfactor.com and you have to sign up to my email list, and I'll send you all those details and all the notifications that is about the launch and when it will be available and how you can get that free training that comes with the webinar and the free training series. Or you can check out my Facebook page. I think Bukola's got the link there of my Facebook page, and see the notifications there as well.
Yes.
So that's the book and the program.
Yes, so I've posted the Facebook group, so people can also reach you through that Facebook group. And
Yes,
this link for the Q Jump, please, I will need
Jumper
that
Factor.
so I can share it also with the audience to follow that link so that they can learn more about how to be successful in their new country.
Yes.
And also there is this glaring issue with immigrants, which comes down to accents. So in building these relationships and trying to find a job and doing, making sure, because in fact, this is the first time I'm learning that immigrants are supposed to build their LinkedIn profile differently. I didn't know that before.
Yes.
So
It's very, very important.
Yes, in doing all of this, okay, when somebody now shows up to the interview, right? To the job interview, and the person has accent, what would you recommend, in terms, because this accent is one of the main issues that immigrants also face.
Yes, and the other thing that immigrants find different at job interviews, I can say different because a job interview for an immigrant is a little bit different again to someone that's a local in their country. So if you go to a job interview in your local country just for a normal job, you might already know that employer from, if it's a big company, you've heard of them since you've grown up. But if you're an immigrant, you come to a new country, a foreign country, you've never heard of that employer, you know nothing about them. So immigrants have to do a lot more research before they go to an interview about the country, about that employer, about their market share, what they do, how they do it, who is their best competitors and their biggest competitors, the protocols that, the culture in that company. Because I find a lot of people, especially people who come from cultures different to Western people, Western cultures, there's some cultures where things are done differently at interviews and people don't realize it and they make mistakes inadvertently and they don't know about it. So they have to do a lot of research. It's not only their assets that they have, they also have to really empower themselves with more research than a normal person does about their country, the geography, the cities, where people work, how they work, what languages are spoken, what protocols are followed, what a CV looks like, because CVs are different in different countries. So you have to do research and know what it looks like to get through all those questions and to be able to answer them. So your research has to be much wider. And I cover this in that free webinar. I will tell people exactly what to do, how to do their research for interviews, for your CVs, for anything before you start looking for a job, so you don't make those mistakes.
Wow, thank you so much. If you are just joining us, either you are watching us live or watching the replay, this is Monday Motivation with Bukola. It's a show about inspiration, women empowerment, beauty, money, business, culture, entertainment, and advocacy. And today we have a guest all the way from New Zealand. She is the immigration mentor, and her name is Zarelsie Van der Merwe. She's been talking to us this morning about how to be successful when you migrate from one country to another, or how to do it in a legal way if you are planning to migrate. So, Zarelsie, can you tell us a little bit about, for those who want to migrate, because people always want to migrate I've seen people who want to migrate from underdeveloped or developing country to a developed country, and I've also seen people who also want to migrate from developed country. So it's both ways.
Yes, it is definitely
What
both
tips
ways.
do you have for when they want to migrate to another country? Do it successfully without committing a crime or in a spot where they become victims of human trafficking along the line.
It is very important for people to first of all do research. I go through the steps of how to do successful migration, not as an immigration agent, because all an immigration agent does is they will take you through the legal process of immigration. But there's much more about immigration than just that legal process. That legal process is your application for a visa or application for a permit. But before you apply, you have to know what you're doing. And you have to know why you're going. That why is the most important reason ever before you immigrate. People always ask me, can you help me immigrate to such and such a country? And the first thing I will ask them is why. And the reason I ask that is to see how strong their motivation is. And that motivation becomes your fuel. In other words, it becomes the thing that drives you when it gets really, really tough, because immigration is really hard, especially if you want to come from a third world country to a first world country with a different culture and different language. Then you have so much more to learn, and you have facing so much more, so many more obstacles and uphill battle. So you need to know your reason why you want to do this. For 244 million immigrants out there in the world, it is a better life for their family. But there's also people who want to go to study, or people who want to follow a different career path or expand their career. So it's not always, survival or something to do with safety for their families. Other people have different reasons. So you need to know your why. The second thing you need to do is your research. Before you make your decision, you need to know your why, and you need to do your research very, very well. In other words, you need to know a lot about your new country. You need to research the things that matters to your why, to your reason. And those things that you research will be different to what another person go and research, because their reason and their why is different to your own. And that is where people make the mistake of taking the advice of other people and thinking that the grass looks so much greener over there because of what someone else has said, because that someone else has done it for their reasons. So you have to know your reason, you have to do your research based on your own reason and your own why, and then you can make a decision and then follow the legal process of going through the
Wow,
immigration.
I really like what you said about knowing your own reason and your own why. And it's true that even I've come across people who, when they're asking me about immigration issues and I try to send them link, they don't take the time to go read the link.
Yes.
Instead, they want me to just give them an information that I don't have. And
Yes.
I think that's how some people get into trouble, because they're not willing to do the research. So you are listening this morning or you are watching a replay, take your time to do the research. Even when somebody sends you a link, go and read it and find out more about that, and even see what else you can find from that. Before we round up, because we have a little bit of time more to go here, thank you so much, Zarelsie, for joining us this morning and giving us the valuable information. I want to share a quote from former President of the United States, President Franklin D. Roosevelt. He said, remember always that all of us, and you and I especially, are descended from immigrants and revolutions. So meaning that we are all immigrants, wherever we are, even in the world. Sometimes we don't know this. Even when we think we are born into a particular country, when we look back into our roots, our parents might have come from different countries. Our grandparents might have come from different countries. So we always have to have this at the back of our mind that we are immigrants wherever we are. But then we have to also make sure that as we are trying to migrate from one place to another, we are doing it in a way that is legal, and we're doing our research. So please, I want you to shed more light on the issue of setting up a LinkedIn as an immigrant, because that was a great point that you mentioned there. And LinkedIn is a place that employers are always looking at. That's where
Yes.
most people who, employers basically, is a networking site for professionals. So
Yes.
it's good to have the right profile to be attracted to the right person or the right people or the right company. So please, can you give us a little bit more of elaboration in terms of setting up your LinkedIn as an immigrant?
Your LinkedIn profile is extremely important. It's probably the most important tool for an immigrant in job finding. Now, you need to have a strategic CV, and that is where you need to start. And I take people through that whole process of creating your CV, taking the basic information from your CV and putting it and creating a LinkedIn profile. But if you can imagine, if you sold the world's best ice cream and you have a shop that doesn't have any lights in the back of a very quiet mall, no one is going to know about your very good ice cream, right? So your LinkedIn profile is the same. Even if you set up a beautiful LinkedIn profile with lots of information, if you don't tell people about it and get the right people to look at it, no one is going to know about you. And 99% of people make this mistake. They set up a LinkedIn profile and they just leave it there. So it's like setting up a Facebook profile with one photo. You're not going to get any friends. You have to go and connect with people. You have to use that LinkedIn profile to first create connections in your new country. And then second, you have to build relationships with those connections by engaging with them, asking them questions, asking about their business, asking what they do, how they do, talking to people inside the companies, the recruiters inside that country who advertise for people like you. And then you have to share information with them from your side so they can see you are enthusiastic and you are interested in your field of interest, and they begin to trust you and they know you. And when they have a job opening and they have to fill that job opening really fast and they don't have anyone who fit that profile, guess who they will ask? Because you already are known to them. You are in their inner circle of trust. So it's very important to not just have a LinkedIn profile, but you have to use that profile to make your connections and to build your relationships with people on the other side of the world in your new country. And you have to do that constantly. So you have to think like you do in Facebook if you want to get more and more friends, and you get closer and closer relationships with those friends and share with them, talk to them, ask them questions. That is absolutely the key for an immigrant's LinkedIn profile. One other thing about an immigrant's LinkedIn profile, in the back end of LinkedIn, they have to set up their settings so it brings them jobs from their new country. Because when you set up a LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn will think that you only need jobs from your old country because that's what your detail in there says. So you have to override it. It brings you jobs from your new country. And I take people through all of this in my training. Some of that training is free, so you can get it on my Facebook page or my website, which I'm going to launch soon, or at qjumperfactor.com. And I send out regular emails with how to do all of this stuff. So
Wow.
that's your LinkedIn profile.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I didn't know that you could set your LinkedIn profile to send you job opportunities from
Yes.
a different location than where you are. That is a great tip to know. So people, especially for those of you who are trying to migrate from one country to another. Now, that is a tip for you to take with you, with your LinkedIn
Yes.
profile as an immigrant, to look for
Yes.
jobs or do your settings to send you jobs from
Yes.
the country of your interest. Thank you
Yes.
so much. Our time is up, and our
Oh,
guest this morning is Zarelsie Van der Merwe from New Zealand. Thank you so much, Zarelsie. You know, you have given us so much value and so much information this morning. So please, you can look at the link in this video either on YouTube or on Facebook, because this video is going to be shared on Facebook or on Google Plus here. So please go through the link to connect with Zarelsie so that you can learn more, because there is so much that we could share in 30 minutes. So, you know, this is just a tip of the iceberg so that
it
you can
is.
learn more from her and connect with her to have more information on how to guide you to take this process successfully. So again, this is Monday Motivation with Bukola. And I want to also remind you that we're going to be, next week, Monday will be the last, is it? When is on this, because Google Hangout on Air is going to be off from the 12th of September. So from September 12th, there will be no more. Oh, actually, that's next Monday. So from next Monday, Monday Motivation with Bukola will be recorded, because Google Hangout on Air is going RIP. We love you, Google Hangout on Air. So today is our little funeral for Google Hangout on Air. So bye-bye, Google Hangout on Air. But Monday Motivation with Bukola will continue. It's just going to be recorded and it will be uploaded every Monday. So please, if you are not yet subscribed, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Bukola Oriola, so that you can always meet great guests like Zarelsie and get great tips that you could use in your life, your family, or your career. Thank you so much again, Zarelsie, for this time. Do you have any last word for us? We've exceeded our time, but that's fine. Do you have any last words for us before we wrap up this morning?
I just want to say that immigrants are special. You know, they bring experience and they bring abilities that people in local countries don't have. So never ever feel worthless as an immigrant. Always know that you have value and you can use your value and your potential to be an exceptional citizen, because you have that experience and you have the ability to be like that. So never ever take no for an answer, never give up, and never feel that you're not worth it.
Wow, I like that. Never ever feel worthless as an immigrant. You have value to share. Thank you so much, Zarelsie. Thank you, thank you.
Pleasure.
God bless you. I hope that we can have you again on the show.
Yes, that will be awesome.
When you come back, it will be recorded, but that's fine. It's still going to be valuable information that you will be getting. Thank you again. I want to thank all our viewers. I see some people who are here with us. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope to see you again next Monday on Monday Motivation with Bukola. Thank you and God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.